What up, guys? This is Marcus. Today we're here to talk about storage. So I grabbed a few things, a couple boxes, a couple actual hard drives, and a cup of coffee, of course. A cup of coffee. Alright. So, storage. Most computers, in order to run anything software-wise, Windows or any of these programs in here, you're going to need one of these. Well, maybe not one of these, but something like this. And basically, this is a hard disk drive. Later in life, they came up with something called a solid-state drive. And then even newer than that is an NVMe M.2 solid-state drive. Say that 5 times fast. So, IBM introduced it in 1956 as something probably bigger than this with less storage. And so anything that you save on a computer or Windows itself or any programs that you have are going to need to be on something like this. You're probably wondering why I have a cup of coffee with all these electronic parts. Good question. But anyway, the only issue with things like this is A, they're heavy, B, they're big, and C, they have moving parts inside of them. Now, I always tell people when they ask about a hard drive, ask them to think of Grandma's record player. Inside each one of these hard drives, and here's a laptop hard drive, by the way, which is a little smaller version than this. Kind of runs this thing. There's little platters inside that are dipped in a magnetic solution, and there is essentially an arm that reads and writes in those platters and allows them to continuously move like a record player. So if you were to open up one of these great hard drives that we have here, you'd see that it does have similar characteristics to a record player. Later in life, they came out with solid-state drives. Now, solid-state drives are nanotechnology, flash memory. So think of like those thumb drives you use. Think of like a bunch of them inside of a case. And so that allows you to save things and copy things onto your computer or take them off in portable storage at much faster rates. I wrote some numbers down here. So let's see. Average hard drive, max capacity, these are old numbers by the way, 10 terabyte. It'll run, it takes about 40 seconds to get to your Windows operating system. And it reads and writes at about 50 to 120 megabytes a second. Now on the other hand, solid state drives, they are up to 4 terabytes in desktop configuration. They go about 10 to 13 seconds to your Windows, which is pretty fast compared to the hard drive. They write at 200 megabytes a second up to 550 megabytes a second. So, I mean, the old hard drive's writing at a max of 120 megabytes a second, and the solid state drive is running at 550. So that alone shows you that there's definitely 3 times the amount of speed there. NVMe moves much faster than a regular solid state drive. It's smaller form factor, usually goes directly onto a motherboard, or you can buy a PCIe adapter to connect one of these little guys or gals. And they come in different sizes. I've seen, well, I mean, we remember 1 gigabyte flash drive, so I'm sure there at a time was a 1 gigabyte hard drive. But I've usually seen them about 32 gigs is as low as I've seen or even wanted to look at. 64 is the next highest, 128, 256, 5, 10 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 10 terabyte. Plenty of options as well. Plenty of companies. I know I've shown you, I showed you Samsung, of course, which is one of the more popular brands. Also Seagate and Western Digital. But there's a bunch of different. AddData is actually a really good company. I just got into using a lot of their solid state drives. Quality, inexpensive, towards budget builds and things like that. They're perfect. And they work. They work a lot faster. And now here's the deal. Most people will, if they're setting up a gaming PC or a video editing PC and need a lot of storage, they'll buy a few of these hard drives. And they will definitely utilize them and max them out. But most of them will have a solid state drive for the Windows operating system and their programs, and then just have this suitcase storage in order to store all your programs in that. The reason being is because hard drives, because of the moving parts, have more opportunities to fail. One of the things, hard drives have a born on date. If you guys ever seen anything with a born on date, I think there was a beer, Budweiser, that had born on dates on their bottles as a gimmick to show you how fresh it was. But there is a born on date, so just like anything else, after a while, that brand new car, that brand new hard drive, that brand new anything you have, after years of wear and tear, is going to become slower. The technology is going to become better, obviously, so this technology is going to be older. And if you were to drop a hard drive, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but if you were to drop a hard drive, chances are it's not going to work anymore. And if it does fail, there are companies you can go and pay as low as $500 maybe, as much as, depending on how much your data is worth, to have the data extracted from a hard drive if it's failed or is dead. Not always a guarantee, and definitely very expensive. So, that being said, if you're looking to future-proof, I guess my personal opinion would be get you an M.2 solid-state drive for your Windows operating system and programs, and then grab one or two really big solid-state drives for your storage. That would be very, very expensive. Another option would be to grab this again for your Windows program. These are so unique. They're the size of a piece of gum. Let me see if I can't open this box up and show you. Unfortunately, it's not inside, but I mean, look at the size of that. Let's put it up to Big Brother here. You see the difference? And very heavy. But hard drives have been around for a very long time, obviously, and they're very consistent as long as you take care of them. My opinion would be this: any hard drive you can get, hold on to. If it works, wipe it out, hold on to it. Do not buy hard drives online that are used, or at least buyer beware. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know why they're selling it used. I mean, it could be as simple as they just don't need it anymore, or that there's some kind of problems. But there is a solution. There is a program called Crystal Info Display, and they will be able to tell you exactly if the hard drive is messed up, if it's on its way out. It gives you a bunch of information on it. So I'm probably not being very technical with it, but let me bring it up.